Good morning. It is August 25th, 2026, and it is time for another Will's Taco Tuesday. We are being joined today by four. We've got a full house. We've got four of our excellent Will's vendor partners here to show us what's cool, what's new, or just something that they're interested in from their companies. We've got some longtime vendor partners, some newer vendor partners, one very pretty much brand new vendor partner. So I'm excited to have everyone here today. Without any further ado, why don't we get started? Joining us first is Michaela, who comes to us from Craft and Hobby. Michaela, I've stopped sharing my screen so that you can take over and take it away.
Perfect. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, so everybody, thanks for joining today. We are Craft and Hobby. We've been a Will's partner for about a little over a year now, I believe. So we are excited to work with a bunch of you guys, but we are offering the largest online database of craft and hobby classes in the space. So as you can see, our home site, this is what it would look like if you were logged in. We have all of our hobbies and crafts down here categorized. So we have your traditional handicrafts like sewing, knitting, crochet, but we have things for folks who are interested in drawing and outdoor photography, woodworking, a little something for everyone. This summer, we did do a big push to add more kids content. So we have 60 classes now. We added, I think, 50 new classes at the beginning of summer. We're adding another 30 additional classes by the end of the year. So we are really bolstering that kids content. So we have a lot of spooky party science classes. We also have quite a bit of the slime, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with your younger patrons. And then we have some things like the Paper Girl Show, which goes into origami. And a lot of cartooning classes too. So if you're looking for program ideas for your kiddos in the library, we do have a lot to offer there as well. There now. We do have a few more niche categories that we've added to the homepage, like jewelry making, as well as paper crafting. So we've really bolstered a lot of our more niche categories this summer. So we're constantly adding new content. So typically we're adding about 10 to 15 new classes a month. And as you can see, all of those new releases will be located under the first carousel under new releases. So we just did a crochet pretzel fidget with Brenda, one of our crochet instructors, but we added a lot of classes in photography and woodworking, quilting. So there's a little something in every category that's being added each month. Of course, we are still in the gardening era, so we are doing some gardening classes and kids classes too for summer reading. And then one thing we have been highlighting in preparation for the fall and holidays, those startup libraries. So if you're wanting to get started on a new hobby or craft for the cooler seasons, we have those classes. I always like to show a startup library because it really is those fundamental classes for your patrons who are wanting to get started. So here is our crochet startup library, probably the most popular one. We offer that knitting. But here you have all of these modules that really help break it up easily for your patrons. So we go over the tools and materials you need, everything about yarn weights, which needles you should, or which hook you should use for your first project, as well as going into some simple stitches. And then by the end of the class, you will have a couple of projects. So that's always fun for those who are learning something new. You do want to have a finished project because then you're more likely to come back and take the class or take that craft again. And then down below, we always have your overview of what the class will look like, your instructor, as well as bonus materials. So those bonus materials are for you to use. They're downloadable PDFs that you can print out. You can use this for programs. You always have public viewing rights too. So you can always to your patrons, but it's really helpful, especially with these startup libraries. It's kind of like a glossary of what you need to know. So we have all of the tools and materials here, as well as common crochet abbreviations and how to read a chart. common terms. So it really does help cover everything that your patrons need to know whenever they're starting this new craft. And of course, you have the patterns included too. So with all of our classes, if there's a pattern needed, a recipe needed, that will always be included in those downloadable PDFs, making it really turnkey and easy for your patrons. They never have to go buy a pattern or go off site. And then with our classes too, we do offer transcripts. So once you select a session, that transcript will come up. So you'll be able to use that there. And then we do have closed captions in Spanish and English too. We do offer a category in Espanol. These are all classes taught in Spanish as well, but you can always use the subtitles for Spanish speaking patrons too. I wanted to highlight a couple of our classes that we're showcasing for programs coming up. This one is the costume box for, we're coming up on the Halloween season. You can learn how to make a tutu skirt, wings, crowns, how to make a chest plate and a sword. So if you're looking for an easy costuming class, this one's great for your patrons for that Halloween series. We also have some seasonal holiday classes like gingerbread house decorating. And then we also include those bonus materials down below. So that's a really easy program for you to put on with your patrons. You can kind of have everything pre-prepared and they can put together their gingerbread house. It's a great programming idea. Oh. And then we also have a holiday ready decor class. So we have some mistletoe backdrop, holiday cards, painted wine glasses. These are all great gifts for your patrons. So we're trying to beef up our classes so you can plan your programs beforehand. Underneath resources, I always like to point out if you're looking for those programming ideas, we have community resources. These include crochet alongs, quilting block swaps, challenges, and then 21 days to better creativity. I always like to point out is a good one for programs. A lot of our current libraries are using this for programming for 21 weeks. So half of your year, your programs are kind of planned out, but you can download this and it is clickable. So the first class is journaling the everyday with Judith. And you can click on that and show that in your library for a program, or you can use it for a virtual program too. Folks can take the class at home and share their finished project. We do offer live events as well. So under the live button, our live tutorials will be located here. We just had a live tutorial last week with Brenda, the crocheted pretzel fidget, which was really fun. We have a couple more coming up. We have one coming up on the 15th so far, but we're always updating the schedule. So any new upcoming events will be located under the upcoming events tab. And once you subscribe to Craft and Hobby, we do send out a seasonal newsletter. So that newsletter includes, programming ideas, but it also includes our scheduled classes. So or scheduled live classes. So you'll always know what's coming up. And then we do send out a reminder the day before and an hour before. So that way you know when it's coming up. But it's always recorded. So as you can see, the last one was recorded here. You can play that video back. And those will always live evergreen on our site. And they do get sectioned into their category once it is complete. It takes about 2 hours for it to be uploaded after completion. But whenever the class is live, you are able to ask questions here in this chat box. So we do have a moderator who helps answer those questions within the chat, but we also have our instructors who are live and we have access to the chat as well. And they're able to answer those questions in live time too. So if you have a crocheting question, whenever Brenda is on, she's happy to answer those questions, even if it's not relevant to the project itself. If you have a question about a stitch or a different technique that she may use, you can ask her those questions in real time. So it really does give you that access to our instructors as well. And then on site, we are adding a lot of new holiday content in the next week. We have that scheduled to upload pretty shortly. So if you are looking to start planning for fall and winter programs, we're going to have a ton of content coming out. I think we have 30 new classes coming in the next week. So it helps to have some easy turnkey programs on hand for your patrons. And we're always happy to help with suggestions and understanding what your patrons are interested in. We do offer reports every month so you can see what they're taking on their own. So typically we have the top 10 classes, top categories, and then how many users are using the site. So it really does help inform what your patrons are interested in. And you can kind of cater your programs to that. And then, of course, we do offer multiple connection options. Barcode is the most popular. It's one step. They put in their barcode and they're in. We do offer a SAML connection option with Open Athens. If you're a subscriber with Open Athens, we can easily get you set up there. And then we do offer a static link. So if you have your own authentication you prefer to use, we can put a link behind that. And then lastly, we offer IP based. So of course, that would just be in your library. So patrons outside of the library wouldn't be able to have access, but we can double up with the barcode if you'd like it just to be logged in whenever you log in or whenever you click in the library. They don't have to even put in their barcode. So that's a popular option too. And then at home, of course, they'd use their barcode to authenticate. We can set that up pretty easily. But yeah, we offer newsletters monthly. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help anybody with any programming ideas and help get y'all set up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michaela. I'll echo what Michaela said. If anyone does have questions here in the live session, please do feel free to put those into the chat box. We'll get them answered, even if you think of it later. If you happen to think of a question after, if Michaela's already left, we'll relay it to her and get you the answer after the fact too. Michaela, thanks so much for joining us. It's been really lovely to hear about Craft and Hobby some more. I mentioned earlier we had some of our newer vendor partners. Michaela mentioned that yes, Craft and Hobby is one of those. So we're very excited to have her on the show today.
Thank you.
Okay, let me share my screen again to get us ready for our next presentation. Speaking of new vendor partnerships, I am excited to welcome Matthew, who's coming to us from, I'm going to say cookbook, because I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. ckbk.
Right.
I think you say cookbook, right, Matthew? I know it's all about cookbooks. So with no further ado, let me turn things over to Matthew to talk to us about cookbook.
Thanks, Jeff. Hopefully you can see my screen now. As Jeff said, Cookbook recently became one of WiLS's newest approved vendors. I am Matt Cockrell, one of the co-founders of Cookbook, and so thanks to WiLS for inviting us along to this Taco Tuesday. I know that WiLS covers libraries at universities, community colleges, high schools, as well as public libraries, and those are all areas where we have customers for our culinary service. So I'll try and cover each of those a little bit in my talk and leave time for a few questions at the end. So in terms of what Cookbook is, the easiest way to explain it is that people compare it to Spotify for cookbooks. So we bring together a very large collection of a curated collection of award-winning cookbooks from every era and make them so that you can easily explore them, search, and discover things within those titles. And we offer personal subscriptions, so we have lots of keen cooks at home and we have lots of chefs who subscribe. But we also have educational subscriptions at every level, from high school through to university. And we have an increasing number of public library subscriptions too. So I'll tell you about how each of those work. We are continuously adding new books. So this is a snapshot of today, what the most popular titles are on Cookbook, but we're adding new books each week. And we do features which highlight classic books or anniversaries or seasonal cooking. So there's always something new to check out on the site. Specifically for education, what we offer is trusted culinary content from well-known names, and that includes material relevant to a lot of different educational courses and disciplines. So we have professional culinary arts textbooks. We have a lot of technical colleges who are using us as a resource within their culinary arts programs. But it's not just that. In hospitality management, we have lots of books from restaurants. So even if you're not learning hands-on culinary skills, there's a lot of material there which is relevant. We also have a huge amount of reference information about international cuisines and ingredients and techniques. And there's a lot of cultural areas, looking at Asian studies, for example, where this can be relevant. We have lots of older books from the early part of the 20th century and even before that, and lots of books dedicated to food history. So you can really dig into not just the current sorts of recipes you might find on the web today, but also a lot more of interesting content from history. But all the material is brought up to date with tools which allow you to search and filter. So for example, across the whole collection, we've just rolled out additional nutritional search filters, very useful for disciplines like dietitian and nutrition, for example. And then all of this is something which can be used in education, both by the faculty themselves, developing their curriculum and developing plans for their lectures, and then also by students as an additional research resource to allow them to go beyond the core curriculum to do their own research for projects. And then something which is also popular at education institutions is that although some discipline-specific resources are very much niche to that discipline, Cookbook, because it brings together material around cooking, is something that can appeal to everybody on campus. And it can also support well-being and healthy eating initiatives on campus and encourage engagement with the library. We do have the usual flexible institutional access options, IP-based access on site. We also have proxy support for off-site access. We can also allow landing page access. So for libraries, they can public libraries, for example, as we just heard, if you provide your own authentication, we can then pass on the link from there to give access to the customer. And we also let, as well as anonymous access, the user has the option to sign in to create a cookbook account for free, which then gives them the ability to manage their personal collections, which are a bit like recipe playlists, and also to post reviews or to add private notes to particular bits of content or recipes. And then for public libraries, we hear from a lot of public libraries that in terms of adult nonfiction, cookbooks are some of the most popular titles, but there haven't been very good specialist e-resources in this area, and especially because cookbooks are a bit different from standard books. They're not like novels or standard nonfiction. Now, another good thing is that cookbooks maintain interest over a long period of time, but libraries have a limited amount of physical space. And with Cookbook, it's possible we have build a large collection, and that includes even niche titles and older titles, as well as the current bestsellers. And then we also know public libraries are quite often involved in community initiatives to, for example, increase culinary literacy. And having online access to a very wide range of examples of inspiration for the kitchen can really support that. So we have a partnership with Charlie Cart, which is a foundation in the US which works with both high schools and with public libraries to put in place physical cooking equipment so you can run courses at the library. And so our partnership with them then also gives digital access to this inspiration to use with those culinary classes. And another thing to mention as far as libraries, public libraries are concerned, there are, of course, general ebook collections which may contain some cookbooks, but they are generally quite generic in terms of how they make that ebook available. Whereas with Cookbook, you can search at the recipe level, and the tools are designed around making use of that content in the kitchen. Another benefit is that all of the books are available simultaneously, so to all the users. This is very relevant for a college which might be studying a particular subject, so everyone wants access to the same book at the same time, and that works with our cookbook model. It's not based on just having a single book out on loan. And then across all of these books, there is cookbook-specific functionality which you don't get in a general ebook service. So even if the book only has cups and doesn't have metric units, we generate metric measurements. the user, if they want to order groceries from Amazon Fresh or Instacart, we have that integration. If there are videos associated with the recipes in a book from the YouTube channel, or sometimes the publisher has also made available videos, rather than having to follow a QR code to track down where that video is, we can put it right there in the recipe. And then we also let you search across the entire collection and find things suitable for your particular needs, including special diets. So to tell you a little bit more about some of the features, we have bookshelves to allow you to just browse and explore the collection to find the sorts of books you're interested in. If you're a keen bread baker, you can explore our whole shelf of books devoted to bread. If you're more into barbecue and grilling, we have a bunch of books on that subject. In the educational context for technical colleges, these titles are some of our most heavily used. They are the standard reference works from publishers like Wiley and from the Culinary Institute of America and Le Cordon Bleu. So they're extremely relevant textbooks. And these textbooks can cost an individual student maybe $100 to $150 to buy a copy of. So it's very cost effective to have access to these digitally via the cookbook service. As mentioned, there's a whole bunch of different filters to allow you to find different recipes. And then once you've found a recipe in a book, you can explore the full content, the table of contents, and browse from section to section within that book. It's not just the recipes. Also, it's not a one-way street. Normally, when you're reading a cookbook, the author writes it, then you read it. But with cookbook, you're able to post questions, post reviews, and the authors themselves often respond, or else other members of the cookbook community. So you have much more of a community and a kind of online cookbook club around your favorite cookbook. And then this analogy with Spotify, very much you might pick and choose from different books to find a menu or to find your favorite things or things you might want to be cooking in the next few months or uses for a seasonal ingredient. And you can do all of that by creating your own collections or recipe playlists. And when you create those in an educational context, or if, for example, if you're running a community cooking class, you can then share that privately. Or we create private unlisted links if you want to share it, or you can make it public when it's searchable on the cookbook website. And you can even embed it in your online learning system. So if you have a bunch of curriculum material, you can add a collection of recipes as an embedded carousel. We make that embedding tool it's just as easy as embedding a YouTube video. As mentioned, the range of books we include from every era, I mean, some of them, for example, have one unit system and some have a different unit system, and everyone's preferences vary, but this tool, we make it very easy to switch across between metric and cups depending on how you want to cook. And one of our most recent features we've just added is extending nutrition functionality across the entire collection as well. We're doing that in partnership with a company called Edamame, who've got a lot of experience over the last decade in generating high quality and very accurate nutrition information. So not only is that displayed for each recipe, but also when you filter, you can filter to say, I just want keto compatible recipes or low carb recipes or low calorie recipes. And that then leads into the ways in which you can personalize your cookbook experience. That you can adjust light and dark mode in terms, and also the font size in terms of how your eyesight. But also you can specify your nutritional preferences, and that can be maybe automatically only showing things compatible with a certain diet, or just to prefer those so that when we rank the results, we show the things which you prefer higher up the list. So to give an example of that, if you do a regular search and you're a user who hasn't specified any preferences and you search for beans, you'll find some recipes including beans as a vegetarian dish, but some beans alongside some chicken, some beans alongside some seafood. But if I flick to preferring vegetarian in my preferences, I get a new set of results. And now it's the same number of results, all the results are there, but the ranking is specific to me, and I see vegetarian results, they tend to be favored. So that kind of summarizes what's on offer with Cookbook. And just to explain how our pricing model works, we have pricing based on total enrollment for universities and community colleges, and a discount, of course, for the WiLS members. With high school culinary programs, there's a very low cost rate, just a flat price per high school. And the more high schools as part of a group that sign up, we can offer a bigger and bigger discount on that per high school rate. And then lastly, with public libraries, it's simply based on the number of library card holders. So that's a quick summary of Cookbook, and I'm happy to answer any questions. And this, by the way, it's a few examples of some of the customers, including community colleges, high-profile universities like NYU and UC Davis, and also a whole number of public libraries.
Matt, thank you so much. I'm actually, I have to confess, this is my first time seeing Cookbook. My colleague Sarah has been working with Matt to get them set up and rolled out as a WiLS vendor, and so I was actually really quite surprised at how fully featured this tool is. I was envisioning, a lot of recipes and a lot of kind of digital versions of cookbooks, but you've got so much more happening here, and that's really fantastic. I think I can imagine so many use cases beyond just someone who's just interested in getting a new recipe in hand, right?
Right. So we've been iterating for a while, working with chefs, who've licensed their content to us, and also working with end users, and then working with some of the early libraries who approached us. For example, the Institute of Culinary Education. They were one of the first. They're a really leading culinary school in New York, and their chefs really saw the potential. And so that iteration has really helped us. One other interesting example early on is this switching cookbooks to being available through a digital means. Another area we heard from people where it made a big difference to were visually impaired cooks. We heard from a Paralympic cyclist who was desperate to cook this cookbook called Mowgli Street Food. It's a chain of street food restaurants in the UK. But it was very frustrating to her that they just weren't available in any kind of reader-compatible way, because a lot of things are locked down, so you can't use them with the assistive technologies. So she has been really super excited to use Cookbook and the way it makes traditional cookbooks available in an e-reader compatible way.
Well, another aspect I hadn't even considered, which seems like a tremendous added value. So that's really great. Matt, thank you so much for joining us here today on Taco Tuesday, but also thanks for being, I think, our newest WiLS vendor partner, and one that I'm really excited to be bringing on board.
Great. Thanks very much, Jeff. Enjoyed it. Thanks.
Have a nice day. Oh, and if you can't tell, Matt's in the UK, so I'll say good evening to Matt, because he I think is hoping to get off work soon.
That was really cool. I really enjoyed learning about that too over here at EBSCO.
Very neat, very neat. All right. Well, let me get us queued up here. You've already got a preview of who's coming up next. We've got Mara, who's ready to rock. We are pivoting now over to away from new vendor partners to long-standing vendor partners. Our next two presenters, or next two vendors that will be on the second half of the show here, have both been WiLS vendor partners for many, many years. So I'm very excited to welcome back to Taco Tuesday Mara Eggerman. But also, I think she's got quite a few of her colleagues that she's bringing along for the ride. So we're very excited to have you here today. Mara, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that you can take over.
Thank you, Jeff. And I had a little glitch this morning, so my partner in the home office, Trish, is going to share the slides. And so I'm sorry, I'll have to say next slide, which is annoying for the audience, I know. But let's see, I don't know, on my screen that's looking really small, Trish. I don't know if that, or Jeff, can you see it in large screen?
It does look kind of small. I'm not sure if that's a setting or what.
Oh, I don't know, actually.
Just zooms in. Well, I'll tell you what. If you like, I also have the slides.
Oh, that's right. You can share the slides, Jeff. Yeah,
sorry about that.
Not at all. No, and I told these guys beforehand, EBSCO changed my Zoom account that I only learned about this morning, so we're all just kind of winging it, but that works, right?
Let me just
so hi, everybody. Some of you know me. I'm Mara Eggerman. I am your traveling EBSCO librarian rep for Wisconsin as well as Minnesota and Iowa. And my partner, who was introduced at the last Taco Tuesday we participated in February, is Trish Politz. Trish was with our Learning Express Prep Step team for a number of years, and is now working with databases, discovery, all the things that we do over here on this side. So happy to have Trish with me. And we may have our public and K-12 folks joining in, Jim Jacobson and his new partner, Mairead Fox. Rhymes with parade. I just learned how to pronounce Mairead's name. So thanks for including EBSCO in today's Taco Tuesday. We have lots of products and services to include databases that a lot of you get from the state library, aka BadgerLink, aka DPI. Best known are Academic Search Premier and Business Source Premier. You may also get EBSCO ebooks via subscription or purchase. We have software like Open Athens that Michaela just mentioned a minute ago. We have serials and other things. But today we're going to focus on two related offerings, digital magazine archives and the Flipster platform for current digital magazines. All right, next, Jeff, thank you for being my assistant. Since our last Taco Tuesday, as I mentioned, on the public and K-12 school library team, and I know this is an important part of the slide deck for a lot of you, who's who at EBSCO. So I'll just mention the two names in the middle again, Mairead and Jim. Jim's hails from Green Bay, and a lot of you know him, I'm sure, from the WLA conference and visiting your libraries. Jim's been with EBSCO for about 10 years, travels in Wisconsin and other states. And Mairead has been in another role at EBSCO for a couple of years, but she's new to this role. All right, next please, Jeff. And on the academic, medical, and corporate side, again, the two names in the middle, Trish is with us today, and I am Mara. I've recently moved from Des Moines, Iowa to St. Paul, Minnesota, so I'm a little more convenient to Wisconsin, and I'm a proud UW-Madison graduate, so very happy to be traveling around the state. Next, please. Trish lives in Ipswich, Massachusetts, which is a really cool town near Salem, Massachusetts. You might know a little bit better, but Trish is right there by the ocean, which I'm jealous about this time of year. In the wind, it gets a little stormy. In the winter, it gets a little stormy, but right now it's lovely there by the sea. All right, so we're going to kind of speed through some slides to allow for some questions that can also be put in the chat if you like. And if people have questions afterwards, we have our email a couple of places in the slide deck for those who are watching in TV land later on the recording. So EBSCO magazines magazine archives, which are the historical collections, as noted on the slide, are cover to cover. So that includes the cover pages and the ads, which are kind of interesting from a historical perspective to look back how things were represented over time. Next, please, Jeff. We have some major news magazines back to the very first issues. Next. Art magazines. Next. Like I said, we're speeding through. A couple newer titles include Science News and Popular Science, which I think are really fun. Thank you. And then Culture and Sports. Hold on this one, Jeff, for a minute. You'll note some different coverage dates for different titles at times. So EBSCO works with publishers to digitize a long run of a magazine, usually from the first issue, and then to move forward in time, we often do 10 years at once. So here you see Sports Illustrated ends at the year 2000, which means we're currently working on the 2000 to 2010, what we call like a slice, a 10-year slice, still with that publisher. But the others on this page go to 2010, and so when they allow it, then we also add the 2010 to 2020 section. We're usually a few years behind, and that's with publisher permissions because they do like to try to sell their more recent things as they can. All right, next please, Jeff. The New Yorker is getting lots of attention as it's one of EBSCO's newest titles and it's just so well loved all over the place. And this is a special one that does go up through 2025. So that's the newest of the archives that we have. Next, please. We have historical issues about culture and art. And next. culture, art, and other topics that include through the lens of race and religion. Next, please. And politics representing more than one traditional side. And then the Atlantic, my favorite. I wake up and try to read an Atlantic article every day. They're really long, but they're so well written. And so many famous writers are represented. Harriet Beecher Stowe, Emily Dickinson, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Ernest Hemingway, and Mark Twain are among them. So the Atlantic is just such a gem. And we have, that's the longest run. That's the earliest start date we have, 1857. So that's a fun one. Thank you, Jeff. One more, please. We have some great business and trade magazines. And on the next slide, Jeff, we have a little screenshot of the entry from EBSCO host where you can see we have indexed the DUNS codes and the NAICS codes. So for those of you or your students who are doing research, you can search by NAICS industry codes to find relevant ads and articles that have to do with that particular subject that you're looking for. And that's for Business Week, Forbes, and Fortune. Thank you. And then kind of new to EBSCO as of a couple of years ago, the Academy of Management series of journals. Let's see here. And to round out all these subject areas, travel, cooking, all those things that are important to life, like we just heard about in our last presentation. And next, please. Maybe you have bound journals that have pages missing or other issues, damaged, water damage or that kind of thing. So this is one reason that some libraries really do like to move to digital. Next, please. These are some fun charts. So if your library is considering putting your bound journals into storage or, dare I say, other containers out the back door because they're really damaged or you just don't have room, here's how much linear shelf space you can save with each of these titles. All right, so you can see a few linear shelf numbers on the right side. And let's see, it is on which screen that, I think it's one more screen that has Life. Yeah, has anybody shifted Life magazine? It's very big and heavy and oversized. So it's 112 or 110 feet of linear shelving that you're saving from your oversized bookshelves. But the biggest savings is with The Nation. So The Nation was a weekly or is a weekly news magazine. And because it was published so much more often, is our biggest space saver at 275 linear feet. Thank you, Jeff. Has your library been asked to provide space for a tutoring area or other services like the library I worked in before I came to EBSCO? What could you do with that wonderful space? Offer coffee and comfy seating for your library users? Any number of things, of course, that you can use with that saved space. And then here, I am going to switch it over to my colleague, Trish, so she can talk about the pricing for archives. Trish and Mairead are the ones who will work with you on quotes, on free trials, and on the discount schedule. These are one-time purchases, and Trish will go into the details about the more you buy, the more you save. I never say that, but it's sort of fun in this case. All right, take it away, Trish.
Thanks, Mara. This is great. And this is not pricing that all of the territories are allowed to offer. So I just like to present it that way. So if you have friends that are not in any of our territory states, they may not be getting these discounts, just FYI. But if you were to purchase one title, we're able to offer 35% off of the list price, which is amazing. 2 to 4 titles, 40% off. 5 to 6 titles, 45% off, and for more than 7 titles, it's 50% off. And they're cumulative, so that if you purchase 1 now and 3 next year, you will get the discounted price based off of all of the ones you've purchased in the past. You can make it a true one-time purchase by paying for the hosting fee all up front if you'd like. So if this year you are interested in purchasing 1 title, you would get that price and then 10% added on to truly pay it in full. Or you can choose to pay the hosting fee annually, which is 2% off of the cost, and it's over 10 years. And it doesn't start the first year, it starts the second year. So the only exception to this is the New Yorker. We're not allowed to discount it quite yet. It's really new to us, and down the road, I'm sure we will be able to offer some discounts, but not now. Next slide, I think. Okay. We were going to talk about Flipster because it just seemed like a natural progression. I don't know if Mara had anything she wanted to wrap up with the archives, or if you wanted me to just go right into Flipster.
I think you can go ahead. I just wanted to make sure that they heard from you because you're the one
Yeah.
that I just put my contact info in the chat, and I'll add yours, Trish, because you would be the first person they would speak with about getting a free trial or getting quotes for the things that they're interested in. I typically talk about the content and on visits and at conferences and things, and then Trish is the person who really makes it happen. I'm just a talking head. So take it away, Trish.
Thank you. So yeah, so Flipster, I'm not sure if you've heard about it before, but it is our digital magazine newsstand. And it's excellent because there are a lot of the same titles that we have as archives are available in this digital platform called Flipster. We also have about 1,600 magazine titles available. So there are many different types to help you supplement your collections. It's really a great way to provide students and patrons with online access to any of your current print titles, creating opportunity to integrate thought-provoking topics into curriculum in school, or for pleasure reading in the library. We've heard from librarians that they like it because it delivers really high demand magazine content digitally. There's no shelving, processing, or replacement costs with this. It can be used to access magazines on computers, tablets, iPhones, digital other handheld devices, and there is a Flipster app. You can access it through EBSCO Host and EBSCO Discovery Service as well. And so it's easily discoverable that way. There are MARC records for them as well. And it provides unlimited access to multiple readers at the same time. There's no waiting list, and it's unlimited simultaneous users. At a time when many people are looking for affordable, high-use digital resources, Flipster offers something unique. It's trusted, familiar content that patrons really want to read. Whether you're supporting students or educators, community members, Flipsters can help turn magazine content into a highly visible, highly used digital collection. Pricing is available through EBSCO Collection Manager, or ECM as we call it. You currently may purchase EBSCO ebooks from there. There is the availability to view and quote for yourself different digital magazines as well. You can ask me or Mairead for pricing or help. If you need help, we're here to assist you. So, yeah, so that's Flipster kind of in a nutshell. There's a lot to it, and I'm happy to provide more information or answer questions if you have them. So thanks.
Yeah, thanks again, everybody. And I've got my name there, and then Jim's name for public and K-12 libraries. And we're happy to talk more as you would like to. Everyone have a great day, and we'll give it back to Jeff. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Mara and Trish. Always very happy to have you here for Taco Tuesday. As I said, EBSCO, I can't say for sure, but maybe one of Will's longest running vendor partners. We've been working together for a very long time. And I'm always excited to hear what's new in any part of the business. So thanks so much for showing us the magazine archive and talking to us a little bit about Flipster. Speaking of long time partnerships, I am pleased to welcome back to Taco Tuesday, Britannica, and we have you may have already heard, but Wills has brand new Britannica representative we're working with now in Olivia, and so I think Olivia may have a guest here as well. So I'm pleased to turn things over to Olivia and looks like maybe Rick. Let me stop sharing my screen if I can figure out. There we go. And that should allow you to take over.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate the opportunity to be here and join you all for Taco Tuesday today. I'm sharing my screen. Is that appearing well for everybody?
Yep, it looks great.
All right. So, as Jeff mentioned, Britannica is a longtime partner of Will's. We appreciate the opportunity to work with y'all, and we're excited to be here today to share one of our newest resources, Britannica Studio. Britannica Studio is a teacher-first, admin-trusted AI workspace. What it allows you to do is take Britannica's trusted, vetted content written at multiple reading levels, available through BadgerLink, and then take that and use this tool in order to mill it and refine it for different classroom-ready resources within minutes. Whether that's creating a custom reading passage, whether that's creating an assessment, vocabulary, you name it. This tool is brand new to the market. We launched it in this spring, and we're excited to be able to offer it in conjunction with the resources available through WiLS. We were excited. It's an award-winning resource so far. It won AI Teaching Assistant of the Year from EdTech Breakthrough and was Best in Show from ISTE this summer for secondary education. So we're excited to be able to offer this resource to you, and we'll be showing and telling you a little bit more about it as we progress. And so, as I mentioned, what does this resource allow you to do? It allows you to create quick quizzes, assessments with the accompanying answer keys. It will give you all of the source material for every resource that you generate, and it only pulls content from Britannica's resources when it's generating these passages, assessments, leveled text, vocabulary from Merriam-Webster, all fact-check passages. As many of you know, when you're working with AI and AI tools, a lot of times those free tools will generate many different passages and facts that may not in fact be true. And so one of the major benefits of this new resource from Britannica is it pulls only from our content in order to create these different learning materials to support not only your libraries, but also classroom learning with Britannica content. And so basically, and I'll take you into the tool shortly, just to give you a brief high-level overview, as I know we've only got 15 minutes today. But you would either build one of these various components, you can then level it to multiple reading levels, and then either export it to your LMS, print for offline usage, and then work with your classroom and/or library groups as needed. So what it offers is a unified workplace and a singular place for either a new teacher looking to teach a topic or library media specialist looking to support learners of multiple reading levels or a particular research topic they might be looking for in order to create fact-check, worry-free content. But it also allows those educators, it's an educator-first tool, allows those educators the ability to customize the materials for their need. We will generate the first passage, but the educator can then take it, translate it, export it, you name it. This is just a short quote from a digital learning coach in Georgia about this new resource. As I mentioned, it's brand new, but we're receiving a lot of positive press and accolades early on, and excited to be able to offer it to you. And so, without further ado, I'll give you a quick overview of the resource. So as you can see, when you land on the main page here within Britannica Studio, you have 7 main options. Most of the options are going to start with build it, teach it, and you would build a particular passage. You might have a student that comes into the library wanting to learn about a particular topic, so you could build them a passage as well as an assessment to go with it. You could be a teacher looking to teach a particular topic. And so I've got a couple of examples here below just to give you a flavor for how this tool works and what it looks like. And you can see I recently built a passage for shark species and their behavior. I gave it a very simple prompt. Build me a grade 3 passage, short in length, and please cover shark species diversity and behavior patterns. And you can see it's generated now this short passage from Britannica only content. It gives you all the source materials on where that was pulled. And when you click on any of these links, it will take you directly across to Britannica School, the resource where it pulled it from, and the exact point in the passage where it pulled this from. And as you can see, there are a number of actions available. You can translate this, you can export it. Those are your options there. From this initial passage, you can do a number of different things. You can level it. Let's say you have struggling readers in grade, struggling readers in grade 3 that you want to support. You can then create lower level reading passages and share those directly with those students. Up to 3 levels can be created at one time. And as you can see, defaults to English, but also available in Spanish. Additionally, it builds vocabulary from Merriam-Webster. You can tell it the number of terms and whether or not to create a matching quiz. Again, available for students to export. Here's your short quiz, and again, all the sources where they were pulled from. And then finally, if you wanted to create a short assessment for those students, it would allow you the opportunity to do that with a short answer key. And finally, with the sources available for teachers or educators to be able to cite where the information came from, so to reinforce good classroom behavior, etc. Moving back briefly to our presentation. Coming very soon. So this tool, as I mentioned, is brand new from Britannica. It launched in the spring, but coming this fall, we will be launching a new tool that goes into this resource called Present It. It will pull in multimedia as well, apart from the text passages, only from Britannica's resources, and create a presentation for whatever classroom or library need. And as you can see, it will apply real rights cleared images, bring them into PowerPoint or Google Slides with aligned speaker notes, etc. So great for your new teachers, great for supporting curriculum, whether that be in science or social studies or underlying ELA standards. We're really excited to be able to offer this tool. Additionally, in future, we're looking to expand that to the media gallery available via some other Britannica's resources and allowing those to be pulled in for classroom learning resources, etc. I moved through that pretty quickly. So Jeff, just want to check if anyone has any questions, and then put up our quick thank you slide with the key contact information from your folks from Britannica.
If anybody on the call live has any questions for Rick or Olivia, please go ahead and throw them into the chat. But I will say I'm really pleased to see the resource. It's great to see this kind of a resource that's been built with the needs of schools and the classroom in mind. I think that obviously there are a lot of options and ways for people to use or possibly misuse AI in their education, and so it's good to see this kind of class of more tailor-built resources that are like as you say, kind of trustworthy and more useful for to use the right way in schools. So thanks so much for sharing that with us today.
Absolutely. And we're happy to set up a free trial, and we can get you customized pricing simply by working through your WiLS representative and Liv. Happy to assist however we may. Should you all have interest, our contact info is here, but please work through WiLS in order to garner pricing for these newest resources from Britannica.
Fantastic. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Thanks so much to our Britannica friends for showing us a cool new resource. Olivia or Liv, very nice to put a face to a brand new name. Likewise, Rick.
Absolutely.
And all right, well, let me take us to our kind of closeout wrap up screen here. Thank you again to all of our presenters for joining us today, both longtime and new vendor partners. It's always a pleasure to have you here on Taco Tuesday. We obviously couldn't do this without you. It's a very popular program. A lot of our members check it out and really use it as one of their main ways of finding out what's new from our vendor partners. So thanks for joining us for that. Thank you to those of you watching, both live or if you're watching the recording. I know a lot of you watch this on the recording. So hello from the past. I hope that everyone has had an opportunity, anybody at least here in Wisconsin has had an opportunity to take advantage of some really very nice weather. It's been a little bit of a challenging summer. I'm not sure if this is true everywhere in the nation, but it's been either too hot to breathe or too buggy to even contemplate being outdoors. But this last couple of days has been very nice, at least where I live in Wisconsin. So hopefully you're taking advantage of that. And hopefully you will join us for our next Taco Tuesday, which is again in 2 weeks on September 8th. Once again, if you've got any questions about anything you've seen today, please do reach out to us either here at WiLS, or we also will include contact information from all of our presenters in the follow-up message. So you can always reach out to them directly if you think it's the kind of question that should go to them. But if in doubt, contact us here at WiLS. We will put you on the right path to getting the info you need. I keep saying I'm going to put this on the slide. Maybe I'll do that right after the session, but the best way to reach us at WiLS for cooperative purchasing questions is by email at coop@wils.org. That's COOP@wils.org. Somebody on the team will catch your email and get you the answers you need. All right, that's it for another Taco Tuesday. Really a great session today. Thank you to everyone for joining me, and I hope you have a great afternoon. Bye all.